Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Good Morning Delhi with Sarthak.
That is my name. That's what you're tuning into. 94.3 Radio 1, ladies and gentlemen. And what time is it? Oh, yeah, time to turn a page. That's what we're calling our fancy foo-foo news segment where we talk books. Yeah, if you're scratching your head and thinking, not my cup of tea, try it. Only then will you know. And of course, today we have the absolutely wonderful, the delightful company and even a more delightful conversationalist, Durjoy Datta with us. Durjoy, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me again.
Yes, it's been a long and fruitful, conversation that we've been having over time. And of course, you are here because there is a new one to your repertoire. It's called When I Am With You. You have gone for the heart from the heart yet again. So tell us a little about the book. It's been a while. It's been a while coming, hasn't it?
Actually, I came out with a book last year as well, but the pandemic hit, and suddenly in my head, everyone was back to their phones and they were just watching reels, and no one was reading anymore.
Yeah.
But then this book came out, and readers are back. Suddenly, it was a pleasant surprise.
And what readers, I tell you, all the way from Kolkata to Delhi, Durjoy! We saw all the videos. I tell you.
I actually make them scream. Not in that sense. I tell them
when I am with you. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, so this book is basically, the idea came from the fact that I have a 5-year-old daughter now, and I realized that kids essentially destroy your life if you are not careful.
How loving.
Yeah, I mean it's raising kids is beautiful,
okay,
but it's extremely repetitive and boring, and sometimes you just feel like there should be trained professionals to do it. And that system is called childcare. So while I was wishing for childcare, is when I thought that universal childcare should be a thing.
Okay.
Because whenever you have a kid, one out of the husband or the wife has to step back.
Sure.
And take care of the child, and usually it's the woman.
Sure.
In our case, I was the woman because I was staying at home. And I was like, yeah, I should write a book about it.
Fantastic. So, I mean, the best way to utilize that time, yeah? I mean, really, if you were to look at parenthood as more of a supervisory role, what have you got yourself into anyway, no?
See, I mean, it's a job that you will have for like 16, 17 years. And you have absolutely no training for it. At 27, 28, whenever you have to have a child, you're suddenly thrust with a little baby who requires all of your time and all of your attention. And some kids can be a handful.
I'm sure.
So, and there are people who are trained for it, right?
Sure.
So, it's the only job that you go in absolutely not prepared.
But I've been told that it's a job that takes away your sleep quite literally. So when were you finding time to? Since you said that you were the woman in the relationship, when did you get the time to write?
I had to find time. I mean, we shifted from it's an unnecessary detail, but I shifted from a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom so that I could put some distance between the cries and myself. And it's an unheard thing. In Indian parenting, it's called self-soothing, which says that if a child cries for a little bit, let them cry.
Okay.
But when you're living with Indian parents, like, how dare you let my grandson or granddaughter, I have to rush and pick that child up.
My God.
So I had to put some distance away so that it takes me 10 seconds from my room to her room. I hope she self-soothes. She doesn't. Now she's older, thankfully.
Durjoy, usually when people talk about parenthood, it's all about, oh, how loving it is. And, you literally hear the string section behind you. But you've given us such wonderfully unvarnished version of parenthood that this is fantastic. More on the book, of course. It is about a single mother. It's about, as you said, universal childcare. It seems to have been, it seems to be ticking the right kind of boxes right now as far as the hot current topics are concerned as well, which is a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because everyone's got an opinion about how you should treat these subjects. So was there ever second guessing while you were writing?
So speaking of hot topics, when I started writing about the guy was supposed to have had made a lot of money in cryptocurrency, which was in 2019.
Tick box.
But 2021 end happened and cryptocurrency dipped. So I had to change it and say he made his money in cryptocurrency no longer.
Past tense.
Yeah. So it's a double-edged sword. But if you keep writing about current topics, you'll obviously fall into a trap because things change.
Sure.
But childcare should always be a thing.
Childcare should
always been a thing. I mean, and speaking about the unvarnished truth amongst parents, there is no secret about what parenting is. It's only with people who do not know what parenting is. They, it's all fun and games.
It is,
not.
and it's also a trap. No, it's set a trap. Oh, it's lovely. Come, enjoy.
It is lovely.
Huh.
But it is also the other things.
It is lovely, as it will be if you turn the pages on When I Am With You, which is Durjoy Datta's latest. So yeah, we could keep telling you about what it is, but the best way, of course, is to go out and support the art, buy the book, turn the page, see if you like it or not. If you do, he's very accessible on Instagram, actually. Lovely stories to look at. What's the Instagram ID?
Durjoy Datta.
That's what it is. So search for it, and we'll be back because, hey, it's a book. We've got questions on turning a page, right? So stay with us right here on 94.3 Radio 1.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Delhi with Sarthak.
That is my name. That's what you're tuned into. Turning a page, ladies and gentlemen. Our literary segment. Oh, yeah. I've got my pinky finger out and I'm sipping some green tea while I'm saying it. No, the thing is that I've always had a love for books, and we decided that we translate that into a conversation, because what is radio but a conversation? And one of the nicest we've had, of course, in the and I'm going to make the air quotes here, Durjoy, in the commercial writing field, because that's what you're saddled with, isn't it? We've got Durjoy Datta here with us. His latest called When I Am With You. You might want to read it. We're talking about that, but this commercial writing, the commercial writer tag seems to have been tattooed somewhere, because people seem to call you that, right? We love to label people, right?
I mean, I love this tag. Earlier, I was trying to be, for the first 4-5 years, everyone was sort of confused that why is this guy selling?
Okay. Okay.
And I was just happy for the pocket money. Because I was still in college, so I did not care about these tags. But suddenly, I started getting called to these publisher parties.
Okay.
And I was the commercial writer. And I said, what's wrong in selling things? I did my MBA in marketing. I'm doing great. I'm doing what I'm trained for.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I don't mind it anymore, because I'm not writing a diary, which I want to read.
Yeah, and I mean, you've treated the topics that you've sort of confronted in this book are very close to the heart, as we've just seen a while back. Universal childcare, single mother, then of course, when you're writing, can love be far behind? It's always sort of a bit of a leitmotif. Would that be the right word to use?
So when I wrote my first book, everyone was like, he's a romance writer, right? But I consider myself as a soap opera writer. So what I write about is dramatic plot points.
Okay.
So after my 6-7 books, I ventured into television, and that's when I thought, oh, this is what I write.
Okay.
I write dramatic plot points. I write Tara freezes, which used to be a term when we used to work in television, which is like, there used to be a show called Tara.
Yes.
She opens the door, we don't know who it is.
Okay.
But then next episode we see it's the Doodh Wala.
So the Tara freezes.
It is called a Tara freeze. So I thought, yeah, this is what I am. Romance is a byproduct. What I do is I write drama.
Okay.
So, but there is no genres known as.
Bilkul.
So they will say, yeah, romance.
I will take a moment to nourish my inner pseudo with the Tara freezes. I have to imbibe that so that I can show it off a little later. But yeah, you were writing for television when it was at the cusp of plummeting, wasn't it? I mean, at that point of time, everyone was talking about daily soap operas and the pressures that it exerts. You've literally felt that pressure, haven't you?
It's a lot of money as well.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So I was okay. And so I was at the cusp of television shows going down in ratings and OTT platforms coming out.
Yeah.
So all the average writers like me, we were like, okay, now our career is over. Only to realize all the executives from television have now moved to OTT. So the stuff that's getting made is still the same. So I was like, yeah, okay. So now what used to be 1,000 episodes is now 20 episodes. I can do that.
That's lovely self-deprecation as well. It's very old school of you. I tell you, it's wonderful. But that experience, I'm told it's invaluable because you have to literally be right on the fly, think on the fly. Does that help? Is there an intersection point between what you do on television and what you do while you're in that other room and the child is crying in the other one? There's an intersection.
Yeah, absolutely. I think television writing also requires a lot of skill because we all saw what happened in season 8 or season 9 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So now imagine if they had to stretch it out for another 1,000 episodes. Wow. That is what Indian television is. So full credit to Indian television that they can set up characters which can go on for like 1,000, 1,200 episodes. So when I got into television, this is what I realized, that this is not as easy as it sounds. To have 22 minutes of content out every single day, it's not easy. So of course, I mean, for television writers it used to be extremely easy because you're writing 10 minutes and then they are putting slow motion and stretching it out to 22 minutes. But it's also like an economic reality. You cannot do it. You cannot crank out 22 minutes.
For sure. Yeah. But crank out is certainly not the word I would use for your literary output. It's a labor of love, I'm sure. And the one that's out right now is When I Am With You. Durjoy Datta, ladies and gentlemen, with us, talking about his book on turning a page. And if there's any questions that you want to ask, if there's anything you want to say, please feel free. Sarthak from Radio is my Instagram ID. Durjoy, of course, is Durjoy Datta. So anything that you want to say, please, it'll be nice. And literary questions. My God, foo stuff coming up right here on 94.3 Radio 1. All you need to do is not touch that dial.
94.3 Radio 1.